In the last video, we discussed the if, else if, and else statements, and they can be used to make logical decisions in our program. Today, we will see two other ways to make decisions in our program using switch case and the ternary operator. So in front of you right now, we have the if, else if, and else statements. We saw this in the last video, and of course, you can check it out. Link will be in the description. So what we have here is basic if, and else statements. Based on these conditions, if they evaluate true, the block of code of the following block will be executed, and so on. This is how we make logical decisions in our program that will affect the flow of our program. So let's go ahead today learn about the switch case and the ternary operator. First of all, we will start with the switch case. So let me go ahead and delete all of this, and let us say we want to create a program that gets input from the student, which is the student grade, and based on this grade we will print a simple message. So the student might input A, B, C, or D, and F, right? So F. These are simple characters, or these are the grades of the student that the student might give us, right? So let's go ahead and create a char variable which will store the grade of the student. Why char? Because these are simple characters that we can store inside a grade variable or a char variable. Okay, so you can use strings, but let's go with char. Next, we need a cout just to display something on the console like input, grade, and we could put inside these parentheses A, B, C, D, and F. Okay, so now what we need to do is receive the input of the user. How to do this? We will use cin. So I'll say cin and grade. If you want to know more about cin, I made this video, so make sure to check out how to get input from the user using cin and getLine. So now what we need to do is that first of all we receive the input, and now we need to evaluate it. So based on the input, I want to print a message based on the grade of the student. What we can do is use if statements, but today we will use switch case. So what I will do here is write switch, and inside this parentheses I will write the grade variable. And it is a block, so we will put curly brackets. So what is going on here is that this variable that is inside these parentheses will get evaluated, and based on the cases that you will offer this switch statement, this grade variable will be compared to those cases. Let's see how. So we know that the grade variable can, the user can give us an input of A, right? So there is a case where the user will give us the value of A. So what I will do here is I'll write case, and using single quotations to reference a char, because if you do this, this means a string, and we need to compare two chars. So because the grade variable stores a char, so you need to compare it with a char. So case 1, what's the first case? Well, the user might give us A. This is the first case. What I want to do here is print a simple message like excellent, like this. Okay, and make sure to put end L. So this is similar of saying if grade equal to A. This is similar of saying this. So what you're doing here is you're comparing this grade value or grade variable with this value. So if this is the case, you will execute the following block of code. Now this is not the only case. We still have more. What if the user prints or gives us B? So what we'll say is case B, and make sure to print something like cout, I don't know, well done, for example, well done, yeah. So we can print well done if the user gives us B. So this is similar of saying else if, grade equal to B, excuse me, and this is B. Okay, this is similar of saying like this. Now, let's go ahead and do for the other cases. So case C, for example, we could print something like cout, not bad, for example, or no. We could print very good, for example. So like this and L, and you get the idea. If you want, I'll write here else if grade equal to C. Okay. What happens if the user didn't give us these values? What if the user gave us the letter P? That means it is an invalid input. What should we do here? What we could do here is use a default case. So if you write default right here, it is similar to the else statement. So it is similar of saying else. So this default block will be executed if above cases evaluate false. So if none of the cases above evaluated true or are not met, that means the default case will be executed. So I'll say cout invalid grade, like that. Okay? So this is the switch case. You need to compare the variable that you mentioned inside those parentheses with these cases right here. And of course you can have more than these cases based on what you are doing. And of course the default value right here, or the default case, doesn't take any parameter or any argument like those. It simply will be executed if all of these cases evaluate false. So let's go ahead and try our program. So I will compile first of all and then launch. So input grade, let's say A, we should get excellent. But we didn't, we got excellent, well done, very good, pass, fail, invalid grade. So what happened here? We can see that all of these inputs, or excuse me, messages were printed. So what's the problem here? So you need to know something about switch case. When you use a switch case and you have a case that evaluates true, it will execute normally. So we gave the value of A, right? So this case evaluates true, okay? It's because grade was given as A, the user inputted A, and so A is equal to A. This case, case A, will be evaluated and the following code or message will be printed. But the problem is that the nature of switch cases, that if you don't put the keyword break, which I'll explain right now later, what will happen here is that even if these cases, the lower cases or the cases that are under the case that evaluated true, they will be executed no matter what, even if they evaluated false. So what you need to do here is put this keyword break. What this tells to the switch case is that once the switch case or the compiler meets this keyword, it will exit from the switch case. Like this, if this case evaluates true, the other cases won't be executed anymore because of this break statement right here. So remember, if you don't put this break statement or keyword, for example, in these cases, other cases will be evaluated even if they are evaluated as false, even if they don't meet the value of grade right here. So what you will do right now is you will put break to all other cases to make sure that the program doesn't continue the execution of the switch case when it meets a value or when it meets a case that evaluates true. So let's go ahead and put break right here. Okay, now let's go ahead and try this out. So what if I go ahead, compile, and let me say A. As you can see, we got excellent. That's because the compiler met this keyword. It says break, that means get out of the switch statement once the compiler meets this keyword. That's very good. Now what if I go ahead right here and let's say the student made a mistake and inputted A as lowercase. Well, invalid grade, of course, because there is no cases that says that the user can input a grade like A as lowercase. But I want to interpret this as a correct value because there is grades that are graded as A, even if they're uppercase, right? So we need to accept this. So how to do this? Well, you might be thinking that we can create another case, so case A as lowercase, and we could say something like whatever we said right here. So A is simply A, we could say excellent for the student, and like this will work properly, right? Let's go ahead and see. Well, definitely it will work normally because the case is met, A lowercase, the grade or the student, excuse me, inputted A as lowercase. There is a case for this, so as you can see, the code will work. But this is not efficient. This is redundant because we are repeating a similar code. We have the same code right here. So what should we do? Well, this is a great way for us to stack cases. So what you can do is that if you have cases that are similar to each other, you could stack them. So you can say case A like this, and what this means is that here you are saying, for example, if grade is equal to A, you could say or grade equal to A. This is similar of saying the following statement. So if you get this or you get this, print the following block. Okay, let's go ahead and do the same thing for B. So if case B lowercase or case B uppercase, do this. Okay, let's do the same thing for C. So case C lowercase So if the user gives us C lowercase or C uppercase, that doesn't matter, this following block will be executed. This is very important to understand and to use, of course, and of course the default case doesn't have anything else, it stays as default, okay? So this is how you can stack cases in a switch statement. So let's go ahead and try it right now. Let's go ahead and say A, and let's say D, for example, pass, let's say F lowercase, now let's say B uppercase. As you can see, it works properly, so make sure you try it out on your own. Now I want to give you some pointers on the switch case. So let's say you have this following switch case. So if the number 1 right here, we're comparing number 1, so the num1 variable, excuse me, so if the num1 variable is 1 or contains 1 or is equal to 1, we will print the following block. Otherwise, if the case here is 2 or if the number num1 is equal to 2, we'll print the following block. Otherwise, or default if you want, we will see out the invalid message, okay? But what if you want to compare number 1 or num1 variable? Let's say you want to print a message where num1 is greater than 10. Can you do this? So can I say case num1 greater than 10 like this? Well, in switch cases, this is not possible. So if you have a if statement, yes, you can do this. You can give condition to an if statement. But with switch cases, you cannot give conditions because the switch case simply compares this variable with the cases that it has. So you are only comparing, you cannot do some kind of logical comparison like if this one is greater than this one. That doesn't work here. You're simply comparing for equality. If num1 is equal to 1, if num1 is equal to 2, that's all you're doing with switch case. Now let's go to the ternary operator. So in front of you, you have a simple if-else statement, right? So here what we're doing is we're finding if num1 is even or odd. How to find if a number is even or odd? Well, first of all, you divide it by 2, and if the remainder of this division is 0, that means the number is even, otherwise it is false, or excuse me, it is odd. Okay, so what we're doing here is that num1 mod 2, the modulus operator returns the remainder of a division. So here what we're doing is we're dividing num1 with 2, and we are getting the remainder of this division. Then we're comparing this remainder with 0. So if the remainder of this division by 2, of course, is 0, then we will understand that this number is even. Otherwise, if the remainder is not 0, that means the number is not even. Okay, it is odd. So this is a simple task to do. There is no need for us to write 4 lines of code in order to know if a number is even or odd. We can do this with a simple ternary operator that can be done in only 1 line. Let's learn how to do a ternary operator or expression. So what I will do is comment this out. Well, I said comment, okay? And now let's go ahead and see how to use the ternary operator. So what I will do is create a string called is even or odd, okay? Simple variable. Now what I will do is I will put in an expression inside of it. So I will say num1 mod 2 equal to 0, okay? Basic expression. Next, I will put a question mark and say something like even or is even, okay? Then a colon, and I will say something like is odd. Now what is exactly happening here? Before I explain, I will say cout is, well, num1 is even or odd, okay? Let's go ahead and run this code and I'll explain it later on. Okay, so let's run this and see, okay, 12 is even. Now let's go ahead and explain this. So what we're basically doing here is we're using the ternary operator. The ternary operator is the following operator. Question mark, I open black box, so question mark and colon. This is the ternary operator. Now how do we use this? So first of all, you need to provide a expression or a condition. So we're checking first of all if num1 is even or odd. Well, we can do this with this expression. We first divide num1 by 2. If the remainder is 0, then it is even. So what you're doing here is asking a question. Is num1 divided by 2 will give us a remainder of 0? If yes, what will happen is that this expression right here will be stored inside this string variable. But there is another case. The division might result in a number that is different than 0. So that means the number is not even. What will happen is that if this condition evaluates false, then this string right here will be stored inside this string variable. And so this is the ternary operator. And the ternary operator doesn't have else if, okay? So you only have if and else. So if this is true, do this, otherwise do this. That's all you have in the ternary operator. You cannot have else if, okay? It is only for if and else, okay? So that is how the ternary operator actually works. And this is it for this lesson about switch case and ternary operator. Make sure to watch the previous lesson, which the link can be found in the description below. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Make sure to subscribe to follow me in the C++ tutorial, and I invite you to click on one of these end screens that will appear right now, and I hope to see you in the next video.